Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and today we're doing my mid-month wrap up. I'm filming this on November 16th and I've read 15 books, which is a lot more than I normally would read by this time of the month. I haven't been feeling well this month. I've had a lot of flare-ups and have been laying in my bed a lot, not having the energy to do anything else. And I have just been listening to audiobooks, so that's why I've read so many. So the first one that I read this month was Swoon by Lauren Rowe. This one came out on November 1st and I read it all on November 1st. Her audiobook was amazing as always. This one is Colin's book from 22 Goats, the band with Dax from Rockstar and Fish from Smitten. This one was a brother's best friend romance. So Colin goes back to his hometown for his childhood best friend's wedding. He is a groomsman in the wedding and he sees for the first time in a really long time his best friend's younger sister, who has always had a crush on him. She's been in love with him since they had first met each other. They were next door neighbors growing up, and she and him kind of hit it off. Like normally the way that trope goes, he is very against the idea of dating his best friend's sister, and he's like, no, absolutely not. But he's aggressively attracted to her and they end up kind of hooking up at this wedding. And she is over the moon and he's like, oh crap, like that was not a good idea. But then she ends up moving to LA to work as his assistant on this movie that he's filming. Because she really needs a job and he can't really say no to her, and so he keeps offering. He's like, you can be my assistant and you can live with me. And so they end up living together, and it is very good. I really liked it. I gave it 4.5 stars. There were a couple of things that did a little bit irritate me towards the like second half of the book, not quite the end, but towards the second half. Just kind of actions that they were making that I was like, why are you doing that? That's really annoying. But overall, I really enjoyed it and would still absolutely recommend it, along with all of Lauren Rowe's other books. I'm actually wearing my River Records long sleeve today. And then the second book that I read was Gifting Me to His Best Friend by Katie Robert. This is a novella length story about a married couple who go to this remote cabin for the winter, every winter, with the husband's best friend. She and her husband are very, I really liked their marriage. They were very communicative and they were very much like, they experimented a lot sexually, but they were very in communication and making sure that everyone was on the same page, which I really appreciated. But basically what this story is for the best friend's Christmas present, the husband gifts his wife to the best friend for one night. And then they end up getting snowed in and it lasts for a little longer than one night. And I really liked it. Very sexy. And I love Katie Robert and it was what I was expecting it to be. Then I read Always Only You by Chloe Leese. I had never read a Chloe Leese book. This was my first one and I loved it so much. I gave it 5 stars, 100%. Absolutely adored this. This is a romance about a guy and he is a hockey player and he comes from a very large Swedish family, which I loved because I'm Swedish, so all of the talk of Swedish family made me really excited, and I went and told my mom about it because my mom is obsessed with everything Swedish, and that was really fun. But basically he comes from a huge big family of actually soccer players, and he went a different route and he plays professional hockey, and it is his romance with the social media a manager for his hockey team. And her name was Frankie. And she was very Italian, which I loved because I'm also Italian. I'm Swedish and Italian, so this was so fun. But she is actually autistic, and she also has rheumatoid arthritis, and it talks a lot about her struggles with dealing with autism and also rheumatoid arthritis. And I don't have rheumatoid arthritis, but I have a multitude of chronic illnesses that leave me with chronic pain and fatigue, and so I really related to a lot of what she was talking about and the struggles that she was going through. And I can't speak to the actual representation of the rheumatoid arthritis, but just as a person who experiences chronic pain, I really loved the way that it was written and the way that it was dealt with and the way that the hero helped her, and the way they talked to each other about her struggles with it. And I really loved it. It was so good, and I would 100% recommend this. I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up on one of my favorite books of the year lists. I absolutely love this. Then I read Carnal Secrets by Suzanne Wright. This is book 3, I think, in her Werewolf Paranormal series that I read the first 2 of in October. I didn't really love this one. I didn't mind it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. It was just okay. It was basically a whole book of groveling, which I love a grovel, but I didn't need it to last so long. It is a fated mates and they find out that they're fated mates. He rejects her. She gets pissed off and really upset. She leaves to go live in the human world, and then he follows her to be like, no, you can't leave me. But he rejected her. And then it's him groveling to get her back because he decides he actually does want her. I didn't really like his reasons for not accepting her in the first place. I didn't like how aggressive her abandonment issues were. She had like a lot. I didn't really care. I didn't really care about her. And so this was my least favorite one in the series so far. This one was just okay. Then I read A Not So Meet Cute by Megan Quinn. This was another new release this month, and I really enjoyed this one. This one is about a girl who is really like down on her luck. Her friend, who's like a really toxic friend, just fired her from a job that all of her family told her not to take. And that she had been working really hard at. So she thought she was supposed to get promoted, and she ends up getting fired, and she doesn't want to tell her family about it because her family told her not to take this job, that it was not a good idea, and doesn't want to tell her parents that she should have listened to them. And also her parents are expecting her to move out when she gets this promotion because she'll be able to afford it. And she's like, now I need to leave. I need to not tell my parents that I got fired. And it was just all these problems that were on top of each other. And she's like really like stressed out, not knowing what to do. And she decides, you know what? I'm going to go walk in the rich district and meet a rich husband. She's like, that's what I need. I need a rich husband. She's just like, that's what I'm set on. And while she's out walking, she meets a guy who is in need of a fake wife. So they end up forming like a partnership, I guess, where they have a contract and they're gonna solve both their problems. And I really enjoyed this one, actually. I thought it was so fun, very sexy, very enjoyable. I really related to the main heroine, whose name I don't remember, of course, just because I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I have all these goals that I want to accomplish with no idea how to do it and no means of doing it. Like, I should be farther along in my plan and I'm not. So I really liked her, and her like not knowing what she wants to do, but knowing she wants to do something. And I really liked that, and I liked their relationship. I liked Huxley was the main male character's name, and I liked him a lot too. He was very stoic. I wish we got more about his brothers because I would have liked to see that dynamic a little bit more. But I really liked this and would recommend this one. Then I read a soulmate equation by Christina Lauren. I have a love-hate relationship with Christina Lauren, and I liked some of their older stuff but have hated like everything that's come recently, and I decided to pick this one up. And I was surprisingly liked it. I think I gave it 4 stars. I found it enjoyable. This is about a matchmaking service, a single mom who joins this matchmaking service who does things like DNA-based matchmaking service, and she ends up scoring one of the highest matches ever recorded with the lead geneticist on the team running the matchmaking program. So it was very interesting. I liked the premise. I didn't really care about her being a single mother. That was one part of it that I wasn't a big fan of, but overall it was decently good. Then I read Little Lies by Helena Hunting, or H. Hunting, I think is actually what's on this one. This one is the children of Alex and Violet from Pucked. And so this one is their daughter Lavender, and then the son of, don't remember their name, the characters from A Lie for a Lie, their son, and then Violet and Alex's daughter. It is their romance, Lavender and Kodiak, and this one, I don't know how to rate this one. I really enjoyed it, but I also didn't. Kodiak and Lavender's older brother Maverick are best friends. Kodiak and Lavender were really, really close when they were little. They both have anxiety. Lavender also has PTSD from something that happened when she was younger, and they really relied on each other when they were younger in a very unhealthy way. Lavender really loved Kodiak, and she just wanted to be saved by him, and Kodiak would run anytime that she needed him, and it was a very unhealthy way for dealing with their problems that they were having. And so their families decided to split them up. And then later on, when they're a little bit older, they see each other again for the first time in a very long time, and they have this big falling out where Lavender gets really, really upset, decides that she can't stand Kodiak, and then they don't see each other again until when this book takes place in the current timeline, which is when Lavender is a sophomore in college at the same college that Kodiak goes to. He's a senior, and it's sort of like has an enemies to lovers vibe with it because they really don't get along at first. But the parts that I really didn't like, there were so many flashbacks, and I didn't think that they needed so many. I wouldn't have minded a couple, but it was like almost every 2 chapters there was a chapter that was like in the past, and I really didn't care about that. I thought that I could have understood what was going on if they had just explained it in the present day. Like, I didn't need to see everything that happened when they were younger. I got the gist of it, and so I wouldn't have minded like 2 or 3 like main important element flashbacks, but like so many, it felt very useless, and I didn't really like that, and I just kept wanting to go towards the chapters when they were in current day. But I really enjoyed the current day chapters like that. I really had a good time reading those ones. Then I did a reread of Red, White, and Royal Blue because I recommended this book to my best friend who is getting into reading romance because of me, and I recommended this to her, and she read it and loved it, and when we were talking about it, I couldn't remember one part that she was talking about, so I sat down to read that part and then ended up just reading from the beginning and read the whole thing. So I still love this book. Really cute. She loved it too. So I did that. Then I really, really really want to read Sweeper by Amy Dawes, but the audiobook hasn't come out yet, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting. But I follow Amy Dawes on Instagram and on TikTok, so I've been seeing all of the like promo stuff that she's been promoting for putting out for Sweeper, and she was putting out these TikToks and I was so like, I need it. So in order to try and tide me over a little bit, I decided to finally read Gareth's book and read Surrender and also Dominate. These are a duet, and it's the last Harris brother that I hadn't read yet. It is book 4 and 5 in the Harris Brothers series, and the first one is Surrender, the second one is Dominate, and it is about Gareth Harris, who has a lot of issues because of he's the oldest Harris brother, and he's the oldest child in the Harris family, so he remembers the most of their childhood, which was not great. Their mother died, their father did not deal with it well and became kind of almost abusive and withdrawn, and Gareth basically raised his younger siblings when he was 8 years old, but he also took care of his mother, who was dying of cancer in their house. So he was there when she died, and he has a lot of trauma surrounding those times. So he hasn't really let himself feel for anyone in a really long time. He moved away from his family. He distances himself from things. And he meets Sloane, who is a now divorced mother, who is not doing well with the fact that she has to share custody of her daughter with her ex-husband, who couldn't give a crap about their daughter. But he's just being petty, and they end up developing this relationship that works for them, and it's kind of a friends with benefits situation that turns into more. It also deals with, he likes to not be in control, and she really needs to be in control in the bedroom. He's in control of every other aspect of his life, and she is not in control of every other aspect of their life. And so they have this agreement where she becomes the person who makes all of the decisions and has all of the control in their relationship in the bedroom, and he gives up all of his control to her in the bedroom. So it was a very interesting dynamic, and I ended up really, really liking Gareth a lot. I didn't think I would. He wasn't my favorite in the other ones, but after seeing all of the things that he had been through, I really ended up liking it. I think I gave Surrender 4 stars, but I gave Dominate 5 stars. The scene with the wake for their mother killed me, and I was dying. I was so emotional when I was reading that, so that was a lot. Then I read Lessons in Corruption by Gianna Darling. I have a dedicated reading vlog for this, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. Go watch that reading vlog. It's my newest taboo book vlog, where I finally read book 1 in the Fallen Men series. I've read all the others, but I hadn't read this one because I was apprehensive about the student-teacher aspect of it, but I ended up really liking it, and I go watch that vlog if you want to hear my full thoughts on it, because I had a lot of thoughts. Then I read 2 Isla Olsen books. They were on the shorter side. They weren't quite novellas, but they were on the shorter side. The audiobooks were not very long at all, and they were available on AnyPlay. I was sick in bed for like a whole day, and I just listened to these 2 books for that whole day. And that was The King and Jai is a royal romance age gap that I really enjoyed. I gave it 4.5 stars, and then the second one was 2 Men and a Baby, which I gave 4 stars. It was also very good, and I enjoyed them. They were fun romances, and really just like a nice relaxing moment, where I didn't need to pay too much attention. They were very fun. They had not a lot of angst, not really any angst. And they were just enjoyable and good and sexy. So then I did a reread of Good Gone Bad by Gianna Darling. This is book 3 in the Fallen Men series. It is the one that I remembered the least, and the only one in the series that I didn't give 5 stars, and I still didn't give it 5 stars. I actually gave it 4 stars. I still really enjoy it. This is Harley Rose and Lion. She is the daughter of Zeus Scarrow from the second book, and her love interest is a cop. And it's very interesting. I really liked the way the audiobook was done. I liked the two narrators. They did a great job. The female narrator talks really fast, so I had to actually slow my audiobooks down a little bit, which was interesting. I still like this book, just not as much as all the others. The last book that I'm going to talk about is With You Forever by Chloe Leese. This is book 4 in the Bergman Brothers series, and I love this. I also gave this 5 stars. This one, the heroine has ulcerative colitis, and I am currently in the process of attempting to get diagnosed with a gastrointestinal disorder, and one of the ones that my doctor is considering is ulcerative colitis. So this one was very, like, hit home a lot. It's like elements of it. So this one is about Axel, who is the one of the older siblings in the Bergmans. He is not as traditionally close with his family because he has a hard time connecting with people. He is autistic, and he has a really hard time connecting. He doesn't like a lot of face-to-face conversations. He does a lot. He talks to them over email. And he has not known how to feel about his brother's girlfriend's best friend, Rooney, who he has had these feelings for that he doesn't understand for a really long time since he met her. She has a crush on him, and she ends up going to stay at their house, their vacation house, because nobody's supposed to be staying there. And she finds out that Axel is actually staying there and that he has the whole house under construction, and so she can't stay there, and he invites her to stay in his house, which is a cottage on the property, because he is secretly doing renovations on his family's vacation house without his siblings knowing, because he doesn't want them to have to deal with the financial responsibility. But he finds out that the financial responsibility is a lot more than he thought it was going to be, because there were problems that he didn't anticipate, and he ends up needing to tap into his inheritance left him by his uncle. But he finds out that in order to get that inheritance, he has to be married. So he and Rooney end up having a marriage of convenience, where they're gonna have to be married for a year in order for him to get this inheritance. And I ended up loving this. I loved their relationship and the way that it developed. I loved both of their characters just on their own. There was a dog and a kitten involved. It was so, so good. I really, really liked it. One thing I would have liked to see is I would have liked, not necessarily an epilogue, but another chapter after the end where the Bergman siblings and family found out that they were together, because we didn't get that moment. I really was wanting that moment, but that's fine. I can live without it. But I really, really loved this. 5 stars. So, so good. But that's all the ones that I've read. So let me know your favorite book that you've read so far this month, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe. But that's it. So I hope you have a great day.